Introducing NASM One, NASM's ultimate membership program, where the NASM community helps each other build incredible careers, transforming the lives of the clients we inspire and supporting each other as we grow and succeed. NASM One is best-in-class tools, cutting-edge certifications, confidence in your craft, and everything you do as a personal trainer made easy.
You're listening to the Peak Physique Podcast with Andre Adams on the NASM Podcast Network.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 2 of the Peak Physique Podcast. I'm your host, Andre Adams, NASM Master Trainer and IFBB Olympian physique athlete. And today, as promised, we've got a very special guest with us today. So excited to kind of pick his brain and let him tell his story and all the good things that he has going on. You may or may not have heard of him, but we've got 2008 Mr. Olympia, Dexter the Blade Jackson. Welcome, Dexter.
What's up, guys? How you doing, brother?
Doing good. And it's a pleasure to see you. You and I have run into each other at different shows, Legion Sports, and I don't even know if you remember back in the day. I was still a men's physique guy. I think we were backstage. You were getting ready for the New York Pro that year. It must have been like 2016 or something. And definitely one of the guys that I've always looked up to in the sport. Happy to have you here.
I don't remember that. I'm gonna tell you right now.
You're in the zone.
my memory is so bad. I can't remember what happened last week. You talking about 2015 or 16?
Well, with 29 pro wins, I can't blame you. It's probably all a blur at this point. And maybe let's go through some of those accolades, right? You've got, I think you still hold the record for the most wins of any male bodybuilder, right? Any IFBB Pro
correct.
male.
Yes, I hold the most.
29. So the obvious question is, are you going to come back and make it an even 30? They got Masters Olympia now.
Hell no. Those days are far over.
Yeah, we'll see. I know you're a true competitor, but I thought about you as soon as they talked about the Masters Olympia coming back this year. I thought about you, Dex. So itch.
Well, I tell you what, I never say never.
Yeah.
I tell you what, they're gonna have to pay me a hell of a lot of money just to get on that stage again.
Exactly.
Before I even go to the show.
Yeah. Yep. So it's like getting reassimilated to just normal eating, normal lifestyle and that kind of stuff. But it's been fun to watch, man. So the other thing, for you guys that if you haven't followed Dex in the past, 9-time Arnold Classic Champion, right? And Dex, I'll let you break it down. 5 of those being the Arnold Classic, Columbus, Ohio. And then tell us about the other 4.
And the other 4, correct me if I'm wrong, but Australia.
Yep. I think it was Spain, right? It was
Spain. I think I won Spain twice. And then I won South Africa. Yeah.
I always wanted to go check out the action. How did you have a favorite out of those? When you got to travel and see a bit, around the world, did you have one that stood out to you more than the others?
I think South Africa.
Yeah. That's a special one for you.
That was one of my favorite countries to visit as well.
Yeah. And that's the beauty in it. Like a lot of people, they don't realize, yes, it's hard work, it's hard dieting, training. For us, it's more of a lifestyle, right? We live it, we breathe it. You're going to train regardless whether or not you're stepping on stage. This is part of who you are. It's in your DNA. But Absolutely. You get to also experience different places, different people, you get to network and see a little bit around the world. So definitely, I think that's that level that you were at. That's the elite level that people aspire to, right? Where they can travel the world doing something that they're passionate about.
That's right.
Yeah. So I want to take our audience today. I want to take them into the mind of Dexter Jackson, and let's tell the story of what it takes to go from a novice bodybuilder. The fitness industry has just exploded. Every gym now, you got somebody who wants to compete or does compete. What does it take to go from there all the way to becoming Mr. Olympia and 9-time Arnold Classic champ? Let's start with your journey, Dex. I don't even think I know this story. How did you first get started in bodybuilding? Was there something that inspired you to do that very first prep? Tell me about that.
Well, let's see. when I got out of high school, my brother, he's a year and a half older than me. So when I got out of high school, he had went to boot camp. And when he came back from boot camp, he was a little buff from doing all the push-ups and stuff, because that's all he does. When you go to boot camp, that's all you do is work out and all that crap. So when he came back home, he was a buffed a little bit. And I was like, oh, hell no.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let my older brother outdo me. So I started going to the gym. So as I was in the gym training for a couple of weeks, I met some friends up in there and we became friends. And they said, well, you know what, you should go to this bodybuilding show. You should compete. I was like, compete? I'm like, nah, I ain't getting up on stage, man, in no drawers. Are you crazy?
Yeah.
And they was like, well, Tim is competing here in the next week. You should go and see him. I'm like, who the hell is Tim? So Tim walks by. He got on the little ass tight shorts. Tight shorts all the way up to his upper thigh. And I'm like, oh, heck no. But his calves was like huge. And I was obsessed with his damn calves when he walked by.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay, let's go ahead and go and check the show out. So we went to the show, and all I can remember is just people going crazy and girls just going nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, it was packed up in there back then. Back in those days, it was real packed in that show.
Now, what year is this, Dex? Like early 90s or?
This was early 90s. This was probably 1990.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So when I was there at the show, all I just was thinking is, dang, man, I want these girls to scream for me like this. So I got into competing because of girls. I wanted to get the girls. Okay.
Girls for the girls.
So I stepped on stage about 3 months later.
Yeah.
I remember going to the gym, and this chick was like, because she was at the show, was a friend of mine. She's like, yeah, you know what, Dex, we're gonna put you on this diet. And she put me on like all tuna fish and rice diet. I was sick of tuna fish. Let me tell you, every day, every meal, tuna, I was done. But I was super shredded. And I ended up winning that show and becoming the first bantamweight. I was 137 pounds, the first bantamweight to ever win the overall championship in a show.
Right.
So it was the Mr. Jack's Physique back then. And Florida had crazy amounts of shows. I'm talking about like 80 shows a year.
Oh, wow. So it was already
throughout Florida. Right. And for me to be the first one to win the overall, was pretty impressive. But I still wasn't hooked on bodybuilding, nothing like that. I still wanted to get the girls. Okay. The girls, that's all I wanted.
It's a stepping stone.
Right. So that's how I basically got started.
Good. Now I love hearing those stories because everyone's journey is different. Ronnie was just up here with us last week, and he was talking about the free gym membership, right? Which is how he started. Right. And I think people think that it's in your DNA, that you're born with this innate ability and this drive to just get on stage. But a lot of times this stems from somewhere else, right? Different types of motivation. Now, obviously, once you're at that level, I'm sure you probably notice your body's responding a little faster than the average person. And, when would you say it kind of became more serious? Like, all right, I think I want to take a real chance and try and get this Mr. Olympia one day.
Well, after so many shows that I competed in as an amateur, I still, like I said, I wasn't interested in becoming a professional bodybuilder or nothing like that, because I would look in the magazines and see guys like, Sean Ray, and which was one of my idols, and Flex Wheeler, Lee Haney. I would see all these guys in there, and I'm like, I don't want my legs to be big and rubbing together like that. I was like, I was 100 against my legs rubbing for some reason. I don't know why. Right? I guess because some of the guys got black stuff between their legs from their legs rubbing. I ain't want my legs to get like that.
Yeah, you get the callus building up.
That's right.
I know what you're talking about.
But after winning show after show and after show, show after show, and losing a couple here and there, and all that did was drive me, because then it started shifting from the girls to, wait, this dude beat me. I'm used to winning on these shows.
Yeah.
Now this guy just beat me. Oh no, I'm coming back next year and beat him. So it became a competitive thing. But I didn't see myself being a professional or making money at this until I actually won the USA's in 1995, when I came in my very first national show I was 187, and I went against these big, huge guys like Craig Titus and Phil Hernan and all these guys. And my back then classes for bodybuilding was huge, so it's probably
Right.
40 guys in my class. So when I went back there to weigh in and stuff, all I remember is seeing these guys with these big ass legs, and I'm like, oh, dude, I told my trainer, dude, I'm about to get killed. These dudes are
Yeah, it's intimidating.
huge.
Yeah.
But I ended up winning Mr. USA, my class. And after doing that and realizing that, hey, it ain't all about size, I
Yep.
think I can make this a living. You know what I'm saying? So that's where that came from. Me
Yeah.
wanting to be, to earn money and make this out as a career, my career.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's a beautiful story to tell. It's when we talk about criteria for bodybuilding. So for those of you that are just joining us, that this is maybe new for you, it's not always bigger is better. There's 5 or 6 criteria that vary by division. For bodybuilding specifically, muscularity is only one of them, right? So
That's
there's
right.
that threshold. You got to be big enough, full enough, hard enough, well conditioned. And I think Dex, where you shine was always you had a great balance of all those things, but you really stood out for conditioning, right? So I probably picked up the name, the blade,
Right.
symmetry. And, when we talk about symmetry too, people just think like left to right, but it's really top to bottom and front to back also, right? The back's got
Absolutely.
to match the conditioning of the front, overall muscularity, density, all that good stuff. So definitely, I think that will inspire a lot of people where if you don't maybe have that size gene like a Ronnie or a Kevin, right, you can still be successful and win shows. And today,
Right.
right now, you got all these divisions. You got classic physique. You got, different weight classes, categories, all the way down to men's physique. So the
Right.
sport's grown a lot. One thing I'd like to know about back in those days, all the way up until your last few shows. I think I just heard another podcast with Lee Priest and Milos, and they were kind of debating back and forth. Is a prep coach necessary for somebody that's at this level, right? You're already an IFBB Pro, you're Olympian or Mr. Olympia. And I got my thoughts on that, but I would love to hear from you. Did you have a prep coach from beginning to end there? And what are your recommendations for people just starting out?
Um, at the beginning, I had a coach or a trainer to help me turn pro. And then once I turned
Hmm.
pro, him and I kind of went our separate ways. And I
Hmm.
pretty much did my own thing for the first 3 or 4 years. Yeah, I probably could have continued to do everything on my own, but I'm one of those persons that know and believe that there's always somebody that know more than you. So I never
Right.
was that type of person that always felt he know it all
Yeah.
and don't need a coach. You know what I'm saying? So I reached out to Joe McNeil. Joe McNeil worked with Flex Wheeler and countless of guys, Paul Dillette, and you know,
Some of the
countless of
big
guys. I
boys.
reached out to him. He's retired at the time, so he came out of retirement just to train me.
Nice.
And that's how having a coach took off. I've only had 2 coaches or 3 coaches in my career. At the beginning when I turned pro, of course, and 2 pro coaches. Okay, so I was in the game for 21 years and only had 2 coaches. So yeah, so that's how that went. I started working with Joe. We did amazing things together. I think we won about 10 shows together, something like that. 12
Yeah.
shows together, including Mr. Olympia and a couple Arnold Classics. And then when him and I kind of went our separate ways, and I thought my career was pretty much heading downward because I wasn't getting in the type shape that I normally get into.
Yeah.
Something was missing, my body wasn't acting right, and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
George Farrell reached out to me. He was actually at the show that I lost to Evanston to Pontiac. It was the
Hmm.
Flex Pro. So once I lost that show, I was really contemplating on retiring.
Okay.
And that was 2010. Um, and then at the same time, at the same show, Charles Bass reached out to me. He's like, "Look, Dex, we need to change up some things, man. Won't you come up here and train with me?
Yeah.
And let's change up some things and see how that go." Okay, so I told him I'd get back to him. Same with George.
Yeah.
So me and my wife sit down and we talked things out, and she was like, "I think you should give those guys a try." So I reached out to Charles, reached out to George, And that's how that went. I went out to LA. I was going back and forth to LA
Mm-hmm.
the first 2 months, 2 weeks in LA, 2 weeks back here, 2 weeks
Yeah.
LA, 2 weeks back here. And then my wife's like, you know what? You're wasting a ton of money. You rent cars and all this stuff out there. Why don't you just get a place instead of lugging all this luggage back? Because me, I love
Yep.
my shoes and I love my clothes. So I'm
Yeah.
taking two luggage bags of shoes alone. And then I got 3 other bags of clothes because I'm going 2 weeks at a time.
Right.
So she was like, you know what, you should just get a place out there and just stay out there. That way you ain't got to keep coming back. You can just stay out there,
Mm-hmm.
do your Olympia prep or do whatever show you're going to do out there, with Charles.
Yeah. Like a camp.
And at the same time, George had hit me up around the same time. I started working with Charles and sent out my diet. And when he sent that diet, I was like, oh, hell no. There's no way I'm eating all of this food.
Yeah.
So my diet changed tremendously. But at the time, well, before George, I was consuming more shakes, probably 2 shakes a day,
Mm-hmm.
versus when I got with George, I cut all the shakes out pretty
Right.
much.
Just whole food.
Or I was eating 6 full meals and a shake versus
Mm-hmm.
4 meals and 2 shakes. You see what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
that pretty much changed and also, with all the food he implemented in my diet, and the calories were so high, my body wasn't used to eating so many calories or clean calories as well
Yep.
as rice and potatoes and stuff like that. I used to be that dude who metabolism was so fast. When I go out
Yeah.
of town, I was like, who's taking food? I don't eat cold food. So I just go to McDonald's when I'm in the airport or something, or go to Burger King or something like that. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? But as I got older, we found out that my body needs more clean food, more
Right.
food and more clean food. You know what I'm saying? So once that happened, and when I went to Charles and we started, switching exercises, taking stuff out, like free weight stuff, we
Mm-hmm.
implemented all machine work. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that saved my joints a lot. And people always think, you need the heavy compound movements to be able to put on size. Well, I already have the size. So
Yep.
now all I need to do is save my joints so I'll be able to compete longer. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
You're
that
refining
added
what you're
another,
doing.
right, exactly. So that added another 12 years onto my career. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So it worked out amazingly well.
I love it. We're going to come back to that because I want to hit on a few other points with longevity and all the things that help you maintain that, sustain it. I got to a point where I was thinking, man, I don't think Dex is ever going to retire. He's going to do it till he's 60. But you
Yeah.
guys that are just joining us, I'm your host, Andre Adams. This is the Peak Physique Podcast here. We've got our special guest on today, Mr. Olympia 2008, Dexter Jackson. So Dex, let's walk him down, a few points on longevity because I got a few things to add to that myself. I'm kind of at that. I'm only 38, so I'm at that point where you're a couple years past your prime, but still got plenty of gas in the tank. And I'm starting to
Right.
transition to that longevity point myself. So, any tips that maybe we want to give our followers? I'm thinking things like just what you said, maybe taking some of the high impact movements and compound movements, closed kinetic chain movements out of the equation and start to get more into single joint isolated movements, training for,
Mhm.
hypertrophy or pump work. I'm thinking blood work, right? Staying on top of our labs, our overall health, so that we can
Absolutely.
sustain the sport a bit longer. Any
Absolutely.
other things that maybe helped you sustain such a long career, including motivation? Because a lot of people burn out and they just lose the mental motivation.
Right. Well, one thing about me is I've never needed nothing to motivate me. I've always been motivated because being the
Yeah.
best motivates me. Okay.
Yep.
I always said in my career, once that fire burns out, then it's time to retire. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So that's why I did it so long. I did it so long until that fire burnt out. And I knew it was time to leave
Yeah.
once that happened. And I haven't looked back since. And there's not a one time that I go to a show and think,
Yeah.
damn, I wish I was up on that stage. Not a one time. So
Yep.
it's amazing to be retired and it feels like a boulder has been lifted off my shoulders. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? To get back to your point, um, of course, I already told you that training, you have to learn how to switch up your training. You can't train the same way
Right.
for your whole career. You got to learn how to switch things up. But some people can't do that. I mean,
Yep.
You know, you know, Ronnie and Dorian, those
Yeah.
guys train heavy. That's all they knew. You
Exactly.
know, I trained heavy you know, at some point, you know what I'm saying? But I knew if I wanted to prolong my career, then I had to make some changes.
Yep.
Even when I switched to machine work, I still got bigger than I ever been in my life,
Right.
just doing machine work. So people have to learn and not be, you know, not have in their mind that I can't get big without free weight. Now
Yep.
you're probably going to have to do that, of course, when you are amateur and you got to
Hmm.
grow to be the size you got to be. But once
Yep.
you get that size, it's just maintaining it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
I talk
So
about that a lot myself. Hmm.
right. That's what a lot of people don't realize. I try and teach people this. I mean,
Yeah.
the blueprint is right here. All you gotta do is follow what I do. There's 22 years I was in the game and at
Exactly.
the top, you know what I'm
At
saying?
the
At the
elite
top.
level. Right.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I try and teach these guys this, but you know, people gonna do what they want to do. They listen to too many people.
Yeah, and
But
so
I
a bit
think,
of it's the ego too, I think, right? So you get
yeah,
especially the younger guys. We've all been there, you know. You see the videos of the big guys moving crazy weight, and when you're young, you feel invincible. So I know
yeah,
how that goes, but definitely everything comes with the cost, and more is not
that's right.
always better, right? So,
So
yep,
yeah, so you
that's
got that for one. The training, um, um, as you mentioned, I'm big,
hmm
very, very, very big on taking time off from the gym.
yes,
I see these guys these days, they compete on Saturday, they right
yeah,
back in the gym on Sunday or Monday.
yep,
You know what I'm saying? That's a recipe for a short career. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? Like I said, muscle has memory. It's not going nowhere. It's not going to hurt you to take a break. It's not going to
right,
hurt you to come off all your supplements, and I
yep,
mean all supplements. You
right,
know what I'm saying? But you got to be, you know, strategic about it. You got to know
exactly,
when to come off, when to stay on. You know what I'm saying?
yep,
I always did it this way. I would set my schedule where I know I'm not going to be guest posing. I know it's around Christmas time or what
yeah,
have you, and I will be off of all my supplements.
yep,
And then I will get small. Who cares? I'm staying out of the limelight anyway.
right,
You know, so you know what I'm saying. So get you enough footage that's gonna last you where you ain't you know that you can post. You
yep.
know, and take that time off. It's very much needed, man. That's the only way you're gonna have a long career. I'm telling you.
Yeah, so it becomes more about sustainability. And I remember hearing Kevin talk about that, right? He would take several months off of the gym. Even Ronnie, I think
Yeah,
Ronnie said post Olympia, he would take a couple months off.
that's right.
And you got to give yourself that time to heal, right? Make sure your blood work and everything looks good. You're staying on
Right.
top of all those
Come on, do a cleanse. You
indicators.
got to do a liver and kidney cleansing and
Yeah,
just cleanse the
100%.
whole body. Not just liver and
Yep.
kidney. You got to cleanse everything. I would do a cleanse probably about 3 months,
Yeah.
anywhere from anywhere from 10 weeks, you know, to 12 weeks or what have you, or 14 weeks.
Yep.
Whatever it took, I'm gonna cleanse no matter what. Now, if
Yeah.
it's been times where, you know, I wanted to jump in an earlier show or something like that, but it's
Yeah.
still I'm gonna get 7, 8 weeks of cleanse in there. You know what I'm saying? So it's very
Exactly.
important
Yep.
to get that cleansing
Detoxification.
in.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and there's some good resources now too for you guys that are listening. If you work with anybody local, I've got a partner here, one of my close friends. Her name is Drew. She has, a lot of these type of things, the IV drip therapies. If you're nationwide, my partner is down at Type Medical Center, not too far from you, in actually in Tampa, Dex. You can do these things, right? The IV drip detox for rejuvenation,
Right.
all that good stuff that your body needs, but give yourself the time to recover. And I promise you guys, when you get back in the gym, your body will thank you, right?
Absolutely.
Everything
You're
because
gonna feel. I'm
yeah,
telling you, once you get back on your supplements, man, it's gonna feel you. It's like a newborn baby again all over,
exactly.
and
And
everything
your
is gonna be
body is smart.
clicking. That's
So
right.
it's like
Everything's gonna be
adapting.
working. That
Yeah,
muscle maturity is gonna. You got muscle maturity. You got,
right.
muscle memory. That muscle is gonna come back that you lost. This gonna
Yep.
be back in a month. I mean, you gonna trust me.
Yeah.
That is the very. This is why I lasted so long. That's
Hmm.
that my training, and I'm not gonna say eating. sleeping, excuse me, because
Yeah.
it's very important to sleep, guys. Make sure you get your
Yeah.
proper rest. But I was one of those dudes who just, 5 hours and I'm up. I can't sleep past 5 hours, but I did take a nap. I try and take a nap during the day.
Yeah. Just to get your recovery up.
Absolutely.
I remember Arnold once said, hey, if you don't need a full 8 hours, you just need to learn how to sleep faster. So it doesn't
Yeah,
work for everybody. But if you're getting good recovery in these things, like you said, try to take a nap, whatever, but give yourself that time to recover. And I think that's a great segue too, because we get a lot of questions. I'm sure, Dex, you get these questions. I get them as a athlete and prep coach myself, about what's changed in bodybuilding over the last several decades, where we see a lot of guys have health issues in their older age, and sometimes really young guys, right? They're late 20s, early 30s. And things that I see would be, changes in like PED protocols or, any kind of AAS. And just what you said, guys not really taking time off between different cycles and things like this, right? Where it's year round. And some of the scarier stuff I see is like the amateurs that are doing things that maybe a top Olympian pro would do. And then they're doing them year round. So by the time they get the pro card, they ain't got nowhere to go, right?
Absolutely.
They're maxed out on all the supplements and everything else.
Absolutely. You're 100% correct. One of the main things that I like to reiterate to people is that, again, you have to take the time off. People don't understand the importance of coming off all gear.
Right.
Period. You have to come off at a certain, at least 8 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Before you think about doing anything. You know what I'm saying? So, what else? I'm kind of lost. I forgot what I was. My train of thought right now.
The other thing I'm thinking Dex too is peak, even on like peak week protocols, we see. I think guys tend to abuse things like the diuretics, right? Where it's becoming too common and it's not under medical supervision. So people get too extreme trying to get this super dried out, grainy look. And sometimes it's not even necessary, right? Where using things like a loop diuretic, right?
So we were talking about pretty much our conditioning versus these guys conditioning these days.
Yeah. What's some of the changes that you've seen? Has the game evolved?
Right. Yeah. I don't know. You touched on PEDs. I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I think a lot of people has to realize that they're doing pretty much the same thing we did. Because I see a lot of these guys, cycles and stuff like that. And we wasn't passing away like this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think from what I've heard from doctors at one of the top Mayo Clinic, from one of the top clinics and hospitals in America is, I got a few work out at my gym. We got a Mayo Clinic here. I think there's 3 in America.
Yeah.
So a couple in Minnesota and stuff like that. But anyway, from what I understand, which makes sense, is, you got COVID and you got steroids, which is don't mix.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Coagulation.
Along with the diet and all of this stuff, and your immune system is very low, and then you're doing steroids on top of that, and then COVID's here. Not even COVID, but it can also be, the shot, the COVID shot. Because as you know, COVID shot has COVID in it pretty much.
Exactly. You build up
you know what I'm saying? So it's
same protein spike.
Absolutely. So it's either the shot or COVID, and steroids don't mix.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because we were doing the same stuff these guys doing these days, and then we were dropping like flies back then. You know what I'm saying? So it's very important, especially these days, that you have to come off. You have to pay close attention to your blood work. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to live a long career, and if you just want to live, you got to be smart about things these days.
Yeah, and that's I think part of the society right now is instant gratification, right? So you see a lot of people that it's exciting, right? It's exhilarating to step on stage, and everybody kind of fears not doing well and not performing well, so they think more is better. And be it their training, more training, 7 days a week, right? More cardio, harder dieting, abusing substances without giving themselves the time off or checking their blood work. You'd be shocked, how many people we get a few new athletes every week. And the first thing we do, natural or enhanced, we check their blood work. Let's see how those key health indicators look, and then look at your performance, your hormones, so we can optimize. And I'd say it's about 7 out of 10 have not done blood work, right? They don't even check it. They don't even look at it.
That's
so
crazy.
For us, guys like us, we're in a position where we have a platform to bring education and awareness to this. Like you said, it's for overall health, and then obviously to help you guys perform better for longer in your career. So Dex is
And just to live. And living is just to be alive. It should be more important than any of this stuff. So you should be worried about your blood work and living a healthy life anyway. That's first.
Yep.
My blood work come back and I got a problem with my kidney. Man, I'm done until that kidney functions are back to normal.
Exactly.
You get these guys these days, they jumping right back on gear. 2 weeks, they take a month off and right back on gear again. So.
And this goes for you natural athletes out there too. You should still be on top of your blood work, things like your thyroid, your cholesterol, your CBC with differential panels. All those things are very telling just for overall health, because you do want to look good and feel good, right? That's what we're here for at the end of the day, right? We're in the health and fitness industry.
Yep.
So you got to listen to your body.
I agree with that 100%. Even your natural guys need to be on top of it as well.
Yep. Yeah, people don't realize. I've actually had some natural athletes, Dex, where they overtrain themselves, right? They don't want to take the rest. And over the years, I've had 1 or 2 wind up in the hospital with rhabdo from overtraining, right? Where they're breaking down so much muscle tissue. So for us, that's like, exercise-induced muscle damage that it builds up in the kidney and it becomes toxic, right? So whether you're natural or enhanced, these things still need to be taken care of. But more to come on that. Again, you guys that are just joining us, this is your boy, Andre Adams, NASM Master Trainer, IFBB Physique Olympian, with my good friend, Mr. Olympia 2008, Dexter Jackson in the house.
Yes, sir.
Dex, I got a question for you. This will be a fun one because you're one of the rare ones that's competed through multiple eras. And you had your own era in the middle of that. So, you kind of had the Sean and Flex and Ronnie era, all the way through Jay and yourself and Phil, all the way to the end. What stands out to you when you think back? Do you got a story with any of those big dogs? And, you can be back in the day with Ronnie. In fact, there's one I wanted to ask you about. I think it was 2002 or 2003. You guys had some kind of it was like a posing challenge at finals. Do you remember this?
Right. Mm-hmm.
That I kind of want to hear about that story. What was that like? And do you think they should bring that back?
No, they shouldn't bring that back. It's the dumbest thing ever.
So you get to call somebody out, right? And then challenge them to pose.
This guy's like beating everybody and winning the challenge round. The challenge competition. Yeah. But he's 5th in placing. It makes no sense.
Right. And then it factored into the score too, right?
It factored into the score. Yeah, it sure did.
Yeah. So that's crazy. For you guys that are newer to the sport, go back and look at some of the, the differences back then. The scoring worked a little different. The venues were a little different, but it's fun to see how things have evolved. And I remember back then, like, nobody was challenging Ronnie to a back pose.
Nope.
So now what was your strongest pose in that, Dex?
Well, you challenge, it depends on the person. You challenge what you think their weakness is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I challenged Ronnie in the ab and thigh.
Ab and thigh pose, right.
But he beat me. I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I love you, big swole, but I tore your ass up in that pose.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a tough one to beat you in. So, especially when you're the king of conditioning. So
right.
But different times for sure. And I would actually love to see how some of them guys would have performed, today. And I'm gonna ask the question, right? We're the old heads now. All right, let's take the late 90s, early 2000s era. Just the competition, the talent was so deep in those lineups at the Olympia, right? You got like 10 plus Hall of Fame bodybuilders in one lineup. If we took that era and we're going to put them against the top 10 2023, who wins that battle? Different physiques.
The 90s.
Different.
Of course, the 90s will. I competed in both eras, but
yeah.
The 90s definitely, because they were so conditioned and was about shape.
Yeah.
These days, it's all about who's the biggest.
Right.
And not, they so worried about being big that it takes away the definition,
Yep.
so they lack this definition than like what we displayed back in the day.
Right, because they're playing the size game, and some of it comes down. In all fairness, some of it comes down to the judging, right? If size and muscularity is over rewarded, if we over reward dryness, then next year's Olympia, right? They're going to all come in super dry. So I think some of it comes down, what do people want to see, and what are we rewarding too?
Yeah, but you got to keep in mind also the judges only can judge what's in front of them. So if everybody's trying to be big without a lot of conditioning, you're still stuck with a show with no one's in conditioning, but maybe the first one or two guys.
Right. That's an excellent point too, right? You can only judge what's on the stage. So, I'd love to see it get back to prioritizing conditioning and then balancing that. So there's just the overall most aesthetic physique on stage. And I think the judges have been doing a pretty good job over the last year or so, correcting the different divisions. They kind of brought bikini and men's physique back to where it was intended to be.
Yeah, and bodybuilding's back too. You got a lot of guys with some amazing shapes. The guts are gone, no big stomachs no more.
Yeah.
And bodybuilding is back, man. You got a few guys out there that's got some really nice physique like we had back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And conditioning ain't the same as ours, but they got some. You got a couple of guys out there with some amazing shapes.
So we got a few minutes left. I want to know, and maybe this is putting you on the spot. Who's your pick? Give me a top two for the Mr. Olympia men's bodybuilding this year. Who you liking this year?
Well, I'm gonna stick with Heidi as the winner.
Yeah.
And then second place, I probably would go with Derek.
Yeah, so almost a repeat of last year. How do you think Samson and we got a few others that kind of fit into that top 5 equation? If he
I like Samson battling for second or third, but I think third would probably be where he would land.
Yeah. Andrew Jackson looking pretty good.
Andrew's looking good. Andrew's up there. I give Andrew in the top. Between 4th, 5th, and 6th, I would have to go Andrew, Nick, and also Hunter. Those are the
Hunter's looking good.
Oh wait, I'm forgetting about Brandon. Sorry about that, big dog. I'm sorry about that. But Brandon definitely
he's always
right in there too. So I'm giving Brandon anywhere from the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Those 4 guys I just mentioned.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think Brandon's always that wild card because when he comes in and he nails it, he's competitive with anybody on the stage.
Absolutely.
So it'll be a fun one. I'll be down there.
I'm interested to see how Brandon fared this year. He's getting older.
Yep.
And being that I've been through this, he's getting older. So we need to see if he gonna make the proper adjustments and see if his body even responds well once he pull out water and use that, and cut his, use his diuretics or whatever. So
exactly, get peaked
we'll
out,
see, because once you get older, boy, some body don't perform like it used to. It takes a lot to kill the body out. Right.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it, Dex. For you guys that are planning to be at the Olympia, we're actually going to have a booth there. NASM will be live streaming. We've got a bunch of who's who, notable figures in the industry stopping by. We got Andrea Shaw, Ashley Kaltwasser, Jordan Brannon, who am I forgetting? Tangi Johnson, Cassie Gills. We've got a bunch of Olympia and Arnold Classic champs. Dex, if you're free, come find me. It's going to be booth 1533. I know you're going to be at the O.
I will be at the Olympia 100%, but I don't know if I'll be at the expo. I'm not going to have a booth or sponsor the show this year. I'll be back next year as a sponsor. The Dexter Jackson Signature Series will be there.
Yep.
Next year's sponsor. We sponsored last year, but this year it wasn't in the budget for this year. But next year for sure.
Well, good. And I think we'll leave them with that. We've got next year. I think I heard correctly. Your show is slated for, is it June 20th, 2024? July 20th, 2024. So you guys make sure you check it out. And it's in Jacksonville. It's only fitting for Dexter Jackson.
Yep. Here in my town, the mayor, Dexter Jacksonville.
That's right. I actually had a few athletes in your show this year. They did very well, and they had a great experience. So for all you guys that are watching, this Center Podium production with our boy Chris Minnis.
Yes, sir. What's up, Chris?
What's up, Chris? We're going to make sure that you have an excellent show. Anyone that's interested, definitely hop online. I think it's through Center Podium. They can find you guys.
Centerpodium.com. You'll see, and just look up
Yeah,
Dexter Jackson, Dexter Jackson Classic, and you'll be in business right there on Centerpodium.com.
there you go. Perfect. So you guys know where to find him. Dex, where else can they find you online? You know, your website, email, Instagram. Let's leave the audience with that so they can link up with you after this episode.
Yes. My supplement company is Dexter Jackson. Dexter Jackson Signature Series. But my website is dextersupplements.com. Okay.
Mhm.
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Mr. Olympia 08. Same thing with you can find me on Facebook. Probably best to hit me on Instagram or Twitter though. Those are the ones that I'm more active with.
Mhm.
And and shout out to Dark Sports for bringing me along on the team. I am now a wolf, baby. Dark
Okay.
Sports
Hey,
in the house.
congratulations. Hey, Dark
Yes,
Sport
sir.
with the takeover. So
Yes.
they're definitely growing, man. Congrats on that. An awesome brand to be a part of for sure. And for you guys that are watching, if you're getting value out of this, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And all we ask, this is a free podcast for you guys. We're here to teach and help inspire you guys. All we ask is that you share with at least one friend if you got something out of this podcast here today. Dex, my man, we are out of time for today. Truly grateful for your time and just sharing some of your journey with our audience and our followers here today. Looking forward to connecting with you at the Olympia. Any last words you
Yes.
want to leave our followers with?
I'll be there. And I just want to say thank you guys so much for showing me so much love over the years. Without you guys, I would have retired a long time ago. You guys really pushed me, man. I love you guys for that. And I'm looking forward to putting out some great product come the beginning of the year. I can't tell you what it is yet, but it's going to be different from my supplement line. So you guys be on the lookout for that.
All right, stay on the lookout. You heard it here first. Dex, it's been a pleasure, brother. Peak Physique Podcast signing off until next week with our good friend, Cass Gillis. Keep a lookout for announcements, guys.